Good evening, good evening, good evening, my Insta family. Welcome back to another live session of Let's Uncock with lovely Gupta. Am I live there? Good evening, ma'am. I'll be taking you live in a couple of minutes. Let some more people join in. Good evening, my Insta family. Am I audible? Am I clearly visible? Here I am, Lovely Gupta, welcoming you to another episode of another live session of Let's Uncock with Lovely Gupta. Good evening, Shark EXE. Good evening, Rahul. Good evening, Sweta ma'am. And yeah, by now you must be knowing my guest this evening. And I must tell you, Sweta ma'am is in. Yeah, good evening, Agarwal Nikunj 432. Nayat Appu, good evening. So it's already almost 7 p.m. here. SK Gupta 8176. I'll just send an invitation to you, ma'am, and kindly accept. And Sweta Keswani. Good evening, ma'am. A very good morning to you because you are having a bright sunny day.
Yes, it's just 8 a.m. in the morning. So just waking up and finish my chai, chilling. What's up with you?
Ma'am, all well, and I love your chai. I've already seen many a times that YouTube video of yours where you are religiously preparing your chai, garam Indian chai.
Thank you, thank you. Actually, when I moved here, and every time, chai for us is a ritual, right? For Indians, it's like showing friendship. And like, so whenever people would come here, I'd be like, I'd show my friendship to them by making chai. So all my American friends here wanted to know how to make chai. So I said, you know what? I'll make a YouTube video. And there we were.
Right, ma'am, right. So how have you been, ma'am?
I've been good. I've been good. My daughter starts her day very early, so I wake up every day at 6:30 a.m. and then take her to the bus stop at 7 o'clock on the weekdays. So life
Yes.
is different here.
So, ma'am, I was just scrolling your feed. I was just seeing your post. I find there is not a single difference between Sweta Keswani 20 years back and between Sweta Keswani to this day, 2022. So,
Good.
how do you manage, be it on your physical plane, be it your on your attitude, nature, vibe? I find that very same old and bold Sweta Keswani.
I would say that I'm not as bold as I used to be. Marriage kind of tames you, and having a child. But barring that, for everything else, I think it's just fitness. Just eat right and try to exercise a couple of times a week. It's what everyone kind of tries to do. So just keep trying, and I'd say don't give up. Even if you don't do it a week or two, sometimes life happens, and we have situations, work, family stress, and things take over. But don't give up. Just start the next day. Like, go back to working out, go back to eating healthy. Even if it's holidays, mithai band kar do, or acha khana khao. That's all I'd say. Just don't give up.
Ma'am, exactly. One of my viewers have written, Shweta Keswani is an integral part of my childhood. The only difference I have grown old and she looks just the same.
Oh,
Shweta is aging backwards.
oh,
Exactly what I told you. It's written by Rahul Chaturvedi,
oh,
2005.
thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you, thank you. I know. I
So,
remember.
ma'am,
So funny. I shot with Shweta Tiwari. One of the first time we were doing the first Star Parivar live. I don't know if you guys remember that whole
yeah.
event that started. And she told me when she met me, we were all sharing a room and doing makeup in the hotel that we were shooting at Hyatt somewhere in Bombay. And she told me, I've watched you as a child growing up. And I said, Shweta, don't say that. You make me feel ancient.
Ma'am, I think is
You
there
remind-
anything hidden in the name? Because you are Shweta Keswani, Shweta Kawatra, Shweta Tiwari, all are actually like you, all are aging backwards. So is there anything, any mystery in your name itself?
God, I don't know, lovely. You all figure that out. I mean, I love all of them, and they're all dear friends of mine. All the Shwetas. I'm a Sweta actually, and there's some difference. Some
Yeah,
of them,
right.
some are Shwetas. Like Salve is a Shweta Salve. So they're different pronunciations, but I guess I'm the only one without an H. I'm more like when I introduce myself to my American friends here, I say it's like a sweater without the R. And then they all laugh
Oh,
because
wow.
that's a great way to remember my name, because I have an Indian name and it's very uncommon for them.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, in India, it is so common. Like I had 14 swetas in my class growing up, meaning like in my grade. Growing up, there were like 14 shwetas or swetas in my year. So I was like, oh my God, my mom gave me the most common name.
Ma'am, before we talk about the present life, let's go back to the past. How did your breakthrough happen? Like the character Avantika brought you name, brought you fame in every household. Ma'am, how did that breakthrough happen in your career?
Honestly, that happened by fluke. The executive producer called Meetu Agarwal. She was running the show at that point. She was Ekta's EP on the show. And they needed somebody to play Avantika. And she literally called me a day or two earlier. I don't even think it was longer. And she'd seen me in Nazdikia on Sony. And she really liked my character in that. And that was a multi-camera soap on that used to come once or twice a week. I don't remember now, on home TV. It was a really good show. They had a lot of theater actors. And so she just called me a day earlier and said, we need somebody, this character. And I was like, okay, what are you going to pay? And then we negotiated on monies. And she said, okay, I'll see you on set tomorrow. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. I said, okay. So those were not the days of really taping. Like here, I'm constantly taping auditions. But over there, because there people had seen my work, and I was actually doing a lot of stuff. Although none of those shows were really popular, like Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki. But I had done a lot. I'd done like 60 pilots, lovely. I had done like 60 pilots. Some people paid, at times they didn't pay. So I was hustling and just loving what I did. So it didn't matter. And then that's it. I was on set. And next thing I was Avantika. I had never seen the show. I had never seen Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki before I did it. So when I finally went on it and I was shooting, and Sakshi and I became very close, Kavatra and me, we were very good friends, all even the men in the shoot. And Sakshi would come and tell me, oh my gosh, Shweta, we nailed it. We are like the highest TRP. I said, wow, I have no clue what that feels like. Okay, good. I'm happy. Like whatever. For me, it was just work.
Ma'am, if we talk about Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki, your character Avantika had shades of grey and then it eventually changes. Ma'am, it was on the lines of a typical Indian household. And if we talk about especially the typical Indian Sanskari Bahus, ma'am, within that diameter, you managed to create your own identity, your own image, which came out very powerful and very bold. Within that scenario, within that diameter, ma'am, was that very easy or it actually came out to be very natural for you?
Uh, I would say nothing is easy per se, but it wasn't hard because, when you have a great team to work with, we had really good writers, the scenes were beautifully written, the characters were well defined. So when we all knew our shades and how much we can play with our roles, it defines the characters better. Because you knew what Sakshi would do. Parvati Bhabhi was the quintessential positive, focused, family oriented Bahu. Right, and Kavatra was on a different tangent, and so was Avantika. So when you get clarity on every person's role, you know your field to play. You know how broad you can get with your character, and the writers, of course, made it easier. We had amazing directors. We lost one director in the course of our shoot, but we've had some great directors and really good script writers, and we used to have so much fun on set. Like we used to rehearse and then we used to be like, okay, now we're ready to take. So we get the scene to the place where we want it to be. We run our lines. They tell us, this is our space and the lights are here and make sure you get this light or that light, and then you play. So we would have fun. Sometimes we would read a scene and go, यार ये line ना गौतम पे अच्छी लगती है ज्यादा, या साक्षी ये line मैं बोलती हूँ तू ये ले. And we used to be like, हाँ ये this line would be an Avantika line, this is not a Parvati line, or something like that. But we were very, very, very free and very friendly. And honestly, when you are in a work environment, you have to be like that because that's when the best creativity flows. when you are all open to each other's ideas, and you give, because acting is all about giving. You make it about the other person, not just about, it's not about you all the time, it's about the other person. That's what a scene is. Like right now I'm answering your questions, I'm making it about the interview. I'm not making it about myself, because only you're asking me questions about me, so I have to tell you about me, but I'm trying to make it about you. That's what acting is basically.
Ma'am, but my question to you is like within that Indianness, the frame was Indianness, typical Indian household. Your image came out to be very glamour. It was it actually, even your hairstyle, it became a rage. It was like even I read one of your interviews when you were saying that you used to get a lot of compliments regarding your hairstyle. You were wearing a salwar kameez, you were wearing a Indian attire sari, but still your image, is it your natural, are you naturally like the image comes out to be too bold, not in a
uh,
negative sense, but a strong woman, a strong headed woman.
I have a feeling I've always been like that, because I was raised in Mumbai. So, being in Mumbai kind of gives you the grit you need to really survive. So, I've always been like that. So, I was just like being myself, but at the same time, in the, what do you call it, constraints, or in the setup of a family. So, yes, you would, if you put it like that, I'd say I am like that. So, it wasn't.
And that is very empowering. That is very empowering, very
Yeah, I'm just grateful that the writers thought of it, and that my character was you played like that. I also think that lovely when people see, when writers or directors see actors, they look at them and they go like, oh, this one will fit this. So they must have felt that Shweta would fit Avantika, and she can play this bold lawyer, who doesn't fit in with the family, but eventually understands that that's how joint families work. And the best way to do and to thrive in a family is to be a part of it and not go against the tide, swim with them, then swimming against them. So I think the writers thought of that, and I am, I guess, a very bold person. So that was actually a part, it was my forte, it was my wheelhouse, as they say.
exactly, ma'am. And ma'am, what about your hairstyle? Still, it is gorgeous.
Thank you so much. It's actually really sticky because I wear winter hats. It's freezing out here. It's like below freezing right now. I think I used to go to this salon called B Blunt in Mumbai, and there was this really awesome hairstylist called Benifer. And she loved my hair. She said, "You have so much bounce. Let's give it some amazing layers." And next thing I knew, she gave me this fantastic cut, and then the Avantika haircut became popular. So honestly, I would give her the credit. And then she moved to Dubai, and I couldn't find someone as good as her. But then somehow it eventually found its way, and it looks the way it looks now. But anyway, so I'd give the credit to her really. Um, and my gene and my parents, my family gene of having the hair that I have.
Exactly. Ma'am, once upon a time, like if I say around 2000, in mid 2000s, ma'am, many a times you were compared to Priyanka Chopra. If we actually look to your timeline and Priyanka Chopra's timeline, both of you have worked overseas. Both of you have done extremely phenomenal work, not only in Indian industry but also overseas. So, do you find any common between you and her?
Not really, actually. Her trajectory was very different than mine, really. I started doing television when I was much younger.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
she became Femina Miss India, I was already working for years before that. So our trajectory was very different. I did mostly television. She did mostly film. I mean, apart from the fact that she also got married to an American man, I mean, apart from that, I don't think we have anything. And being Indian, I don't think we have anything in common. We are very, very different.
Ma'am,
Um,
but when these comparisons happened back then, so how did you take that?
I don't mind, actually. I would just say don't do that, because just because we're Indian, we don't all look alike. We look very different. Like, she has a different face structure, and I have a different face structure. Just because we are Indian, and maybe some of the pictures when we dress up all glamorous, we all have long hair. We Indian women, we have dark hair, we have dark eyebrows. So it doesn't mean that we look alike. So I used to just say, like, there's no comparison. That our trajectory is very different. So that's what I would say, and that's it. I would leave it at that. But apart from that, I don't know. I mean, She moved here to work, and she moved and she got Quantico and she did that, and then she met her man. I actually moved for love. I had a great career going in Mumbai, so I moved because I fell in love with my husband, and I wanted to move here. And I said, okay, let me come here and see where my career takes me. So had I come for my career or had booked a job and then come here, it would have been very different for me versus doing it the way I did it. So it's a very different trajectory.
Ma'am, but to be very honest, both of you have actually raised the bar, and you have always made India very proud of your work. Be it you or be it Priyanka Chopra, both have you actually raised the bar, ma'am. Ma'am, coming to your career 2.0 overseas, how has been the journey so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly honing my craft. I consider myself really lucky that, I have the wherewithal, the resources, and I live in New York. So, of course, they say LA is maybe more the right place, or maybe there's more work and job opportunities there. But they say New York has quality and LA has quantity. So I'm glad I'm in New York because I feel that, I'd be considered quality. I'm hoping. This is just in my head. That's what I've heard. So I'm just grateful that I have the opportunities. I get to work with some really great people. Whatever work I've done so far, I've managed to work like with some really great actors, Ryan Eggold and, Dustin Hoffman and James Spader and Mayim Bialik, and and now coming up, there's another film that has Zach Galifianakis and Elizabeth Banks, and that's going to release next year. I'm just grateful to be working with such amazing people, and the directors, the team, the cast, and the crew. They're very professional, and it's very different working there versus working here. Even the acting that we do is very different. So it took me that long to, like, as you say, uncork myself, kind of get more familiar with the way the market works here, how you make yourself, you're the product. As an actor, you're the product. So how you market yourself and get to know the industry. So it takes time, it takes understanding. So I brace myself every day, and I'm like, you know what, the best will come.
Ma'am, your post regarding your family life, your motherhood looks fun. At the same time, it looks very motivating. How do you balance everything, ma'am?
It's really hard, lovely. It's actually very challenging to live in a country away from your parents. Like a lot of people who moved to where I moved actually moved to this area because their families lived here. You need, like they say, it takes a village to raise a kid or kids. That's why I stopped at one kid, because just having one kid here was so hard. I didn't have any family support. I had no help raising my child. So every time I book work or I get a shoot, I have to figure many variables. There are many pieces of a puzzle that need to be, fixed and, moved around. Like, who will get my daughter? Pack food for her, make sure my family has everything. So if I'm traveling for shoot, like I shot one film in Atlanta, I was in LA for another series on Roar. Um, which was on Apple TV. So I had to travel for two weeks. So I have to make sure my family has food. That I have need support. Like I need community. So my friends here in my town are my extended family who really help me out, and yeah, and they're there for me. Like and that we do the same for each other, because otherwise it's impossible. You cannot have a career, be ambitious, and have a family life if you don't have support. It really is extremely hard. I mean, if there's any mothers watching this live interview, or any families, even parents, of kids who live here, they would, vouch for that fact.
Ma'am, someone, Tanya Shanks, 17, has written, she is an amazing mom. So I would just like to tell Tanya that after dropping her daughter to school, she has just joined us live.
Oh, she's lovely. She's a
Uh,
pet. Actually, she's lovely.
okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, my final question to you would be: are we seeing anytime soon Miss Shweta Keswani in our Indian industry? Anytime soon, ma'am?
Honestly, I have people there that take care of my work. There's an agency, there are casting directors I know there. But like they say that you need to move there.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
the requirements of the job there, like when I used to do Kahani or Days or any of the other stuff, they would need 15 to 20 days a month minimum. And then even after that, they would miss some close up here, miss some scene there. So they basically need me to live there. Like flying me down every time and bringing me back is not cost. effective or cost efficient for production. And nobody wants to spend that kind of money because everybody wants to keep that money. So that kind of stuff is hard, you know. So even though I have people, whenever I come there, I meet my producer friends and my director friends who I absolutely love, and they love me, and they'll be like, you know, come, we've got this job. I'm like, Baba, I can't come. मैं इतने दिन नहीं आ सकती हूँ. I need, you know, I need, my family needs me here. I can't just up and quit. So for me, getting work here is much better for my family versus getting work there. I'm not averse to it. I will come, but I prefer doing like a film there, because then what happens? You shoot in a bulk and you come back. But television over there is very difficult to do right now because they'll need me every month, unless it's a cameo. So we'll see.
Ma'am, your final message to my Indian friends, your Indian fans.
Oh, wow. It
Because
would
many
sound.
have written, come back, we are missing you, come. Many have written. I cannot read each and
Uh,
every message, but many have joined.
uh, I'll say I'd love to. I mean, you know, I'm there on the reruns on Babahu Baby, and I think Kahani also is now on Disney Hotstar, and hopefully some of my other shows will be rerun. You know, they show them again and telecast them on other networks. I'm really sorry that I can't come right now, but uh, there is hope. Once my daughter is getting older, she's 9 now. And as she gets older, if there's a possibility, I'm not going to rule it out. I promise you guys that. In the meantime, you can watch me. You can watch me on several things. Apple TV has Roar. I'm in episode 7. I'm on New Amsterdam, couple of episodes. I'm on Mime Bialix, As They Made Us. And there'll be more coming. I was on Nosferatu on AMC, and then next year I'll be on the Beanie Bubble, so I'll be there. And my message is very simple to you. You know, don't take things personally. Enjoy yourself, and don't watch too much TV. Go live with your families. You know, spend time with them. Your real life stories are unfolding, so enjoy that. And that's it. Just live every moment and be present. Be happy. That's it. I mean, very simple message, really.
Ma'am, that was so kind and so candid one. And thank you so much for joining me on my live Let's Uncork with Lovely Gupta. Very much thank you, gratitude, and a namaste from India.
Oh, thank you so much, lovely. This was fantastic. Thank you so much
Thank you, ma'am.
for
Thank you
having.
so much for joining us.
And thanks
Thank you, ma'am.
everyone, those who joined. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. So yeah, that was Shweta, ma'am, the very beautiful and, in my word, very bold and powerful lady. So that was all for today. I'll meet you in my next live with another guest. So stay tuned. In the meanwhile, just mail me about today's episode. Let's uncork with Lovely Gupta at gmail.com. Bye bye. Take care.